Hi dear friends, today I want to talk with you about true, false, not given questions, because these questions seem more difficult for some students and even for many students. I don't know why, but when people start preparing for IELTS, the first milestone that they encounter is true, false, not given questions. Why? I don't know why. Maybe because they haven't seen such kind of questions before. That's why it's a bit difficult for them. And I ask you to subscribe to my channel because I will try to share with you only useful information. True, false, not given. It's easy to understand what they mean. True is true, false is false, not given is not given. The thing that you should know about true, false, not given is that they always follow the order. No matter what happens, true, false, not given questions always follow the order. The next thing that many people advise, and I also will advise this, use keywords to find the answers. You read the statement of true, false, not given. You try to find some keywords and you start looking for them. But the thing is that these keywords can be paraphrased. That's why always try to find very rare keywords, and especially keywords like some names, or I don't know, the names of people, the names of some places, years, centuries, numbers, and so on. This can help you find the location of this statement more easily. Okay, let's say that you have found keywords and you have found the location of this statement, but it's again difficult for you to reveal whether it's true, false, or not given. Even some words, even just one word, can change the meaning. For example, I love the reading passage about Marie Curie. If I'm not mistaken, it's Cambridge 9. The question was like this: when Marie's daughters were born, she stopped her activity. But in the passage, there was written like this: children failed to interrupt Marie Curie's activities. Fail to interrupt, actually fail is like not, did not interrupt. But in the statement, true, false, not given statement, we have didn't just. Actually didn't and fail, they are synonyms. And it's quite usual that IELTS gives us these two words like synonyms, fail and didn't, for example. The next thing that I always advise my students is to look thoroughly through your true, false, not given statements after you finish your reading. Why? For example, there were, let's say, 7 true, false, not given statements, and you have made 3 mistakes and 4 correct answers. And many people, they just look through only these 3 mistakes, why it was like a mistake. They find them and they feel satisfied that everything is okay.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.
But actually everything is not okay. You didn't look at those 4 correct answers. Maybe the right answers of those correct answers were just like a luck, but you didn't dive deep into these statements. That's why I advise to read each statement and each statement in the passage again and again, and to understand why you have chosen this one, and to understand whether you have chosen correctly or not. It's very important. After you start elaborate on each of your questions, you will succeed in true, false, not given section.
Yes, yes, yes! Come to Papa!
Actually, true, false, not given section is the section that recovers easily and sooner than the other sections. For example, heading section is the last one that people succeed in. That's why work on true, false, not given. They are very popular nowadays. Do not skip them. It's very important. Okay, now we will look carefully through true false not given questions on the passage of Marie Curie. As I've told you, it was the most interesting passage for me on true false not given. So let's look at the first statement. Marie Curie's husband was a joint winner of both Marie's Nobel Prizes. So here we have husband. It's our keyword that we should look for information about her husband. By the way, all the questions follow the order, so you should find first in order to find the answer of the second question. The first one is about her husband, that he was a joint winner of both Marie's Nobel Prizes. Okay, let's look at the passage and try to find where her husband is mentioned for the first time. As the question is the first one, it will be somewhere at the beginning of the passage. Here we have, with her husband Pierre Curie and Henry Becquerel, she was awarded the 1903 Nobel Prize for Physics and was the sole winner of 1911 Nobel Prize for Chemistry. We see that in the second Nobel Prize, she was the sole winner. So it's completely the opposite of the first statement. So the answer to the first statement is false. Let's look at the second one. Marie became interested in science when she was a child. Let's look at her childhood and where her childhood is mentioned for the first time. As you see, this part of the passage was about her achievements, but this part of the passage is about her childhood. And here we see the information that from childhood, Marie was remarkable for her prodigious memory and at the age of 16 won a gold medal on completion of her secondary education. Then we see information about her father, investment, we see information that she worked as a teacher and so on. But nowhere we have the information that she had interest to physics. Because later in the passage we see that this part of the passage it's told about her adulthood. So the answer to the second statement is not given. So let's look at the third statement. Here we have the statement like this. Marie was able to attend the Sorbonne because of her sister's financial contribution. Here we have the name of university, we have her sister and financial contribution. We have brilliant keywords and the most brilliant one is Sorbonne because it's unique and we should find the place where it's mentioned for the first time. Let's look at this passage. Here we have in 1891 the promise was fulfilled to Marie when and Marie went to Paris and began to study at the Sorbonne. Okay, we have Sorbonne, but we don't understand how she started to study at Sorbonne. Sometimes we have to look above and below. Because her father lost his savings through bad investments, she then had to take work as a teacher. So they didn't have any financial aid and she went to work as a teacher. I understand this from this sentence. From her earnings, she was able to finance her sister Bronien's medical studies in Paris on the understanding that Bronia would in turn later help her to get an education. So here we see that she helped Bronia on the understanding that, so Bronia promised her to help when she will get an education and earn money. In 1891, the promise was fulfilled. So we see that this is true. This is truly happened. And our decision is that the third statement is true. Let's look at the next statement. Marie stopped doing research for several years when her children were born. So from this statement, we understand that we should find the place where it starts to talk about her children and that when they were born, she stopped her research. Let's look for this place. After finding the last statement about Sorbonne, we see that the passage is talking about her achievements, her work, and only after some time it tells us about her daughters. So here we have the sentence like this. The birth of Marie's two daughters, Rand and Evie, in 1897 and 1904 failed to interrupt her scientific work. So we have failed to interrupt. So they didn't interrupt her scientific work. So from here we understand that the answer is false. Her children didn't interrupt her research when they were born. The fifth statement is that Mary took over the teaching position her husband has held. After he died, she took his position. So we should find the information about her husband, and of course we should look for her husband after her daughters. So here we have after daughters, after this paragraph, we see the sudden death of her husband in 1906 was a bitter blow to Marie Curie, but was also a turning point in her career. Henceforth, she was to devote all her energy to completing alone the scientific work that they had undertaken. On May 13, 1906, she was appointed to the professorship that had been left vacant on her husband's death. So, she took the position that had been left vacant on her husband's death. So, the statement is totally true. Let's look at the last statement. Marie's sister Bronia studied the medical uses of radioactivity. We should look for this information after the husband, after the information that Marie took her husband's position. So here we have information about her husband. Then we have information about Irene. We know Marie's sister's name, it's Bronia, and we should look for Bronia. We have Irene, but it's her daughter. It's written that her sister Bronia became the director in Warsaw of the Radium Institute, but it's not written whether she studied the uses of radioactivity or not. That's why this statement is not given. So this is the easiest way to find true, false, not given sentences by means of keywords and, of course, by means of your logics. Okay, dear friends, thank you for watching me. If you watch it till the end, I'm too pleased because it's really an honor for me that I've made someone listen to me till the end. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I will feel over the moon.